Welcome back to the Jonathan Benaya podcast, and we are continuing with the discussion on wildlife photography. If you are just joining us, we are recording at Peter's place. You might hear a bit of hooting, but that's because we are just chilling here and having a good conversation on wildlife photography. Yeah, so Peter, just before we broke off, you were talking about, you were trying to deliver a point around expectations of a tour company versus what you're required to deliver. Do you mind just picking up on that conversation?
Yes. So what we were saying, the challenges for a photographer when a client, tour operator, or anyone have something specific they want to portray, right? They have a company standing for something, and you need to get that feeling into a photo. And one of the bigger tour operators and lodge hotel companies here, I had an interesting conversation with them some time back. Now, their whole marketing for this year was targeting families. So they literally asked me, they would take me to their places and to all the parks, but I were to take pictures and deliver pictures of animals that were smiling, animals in family relations, and in a happy family social environment. Right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, sometimes this isn't as tricky. But you walk up to a gorilla family, the family is sitting there grooming and they are playing most of the time. But this what we were going to capture the smiling giraffes or murchison, right? And this is literally how the conversation was. And I'm not meaning this in some kind of a joking way. That they needed their animals in a smiley, happy, family, social way. Anyone who has been on a safari, that's not really what comes to mind when you see the animals.
No. Yeah.
But they are targeting families. They are targeting, they are selling their family rooms. They want their clients to come with their kids. So it was all happy, and obviously no prey, no dead animals, which of course is just to avoid.
Yeah.
But then going out in a park and trying to find this is a challenge.
Yeah. I know.
I think generally most times what we look for in a picture, most times is the message behind it. I work for a luxury company, so we'll at most times would want to deliver images that depict, for example, for the rooms, luxury. So if you go to Windy Lodge, let's say, when you look at the room and you compare the standard room to the deluxe room, you have to see the difference in it. So that's what the image should deliver. Then, of course, different properties, different tastes and different things. If for wildlife, for example, if I tell someone that the gorillas come to Windy Lodge sometimes, for instance, if I don't have a shot of it, will you believe me? You won't.
I'll be skeptical, yes.
Yes, you'll be skeptical.
If it's not on camera, it's not true.
Exactly. If it's not there, there's no evidence.
Yeah.
So it's what message are you delivering in the photo? What are you trying to say with the image? So that's what we look for in pictures most times.
Okay.
In summary, summary, yes.
In the same breath, I don't know if you do photography safaris as Volcanoes Safaris.
No,
but I imagine
really.
that the majority of tourists that you have come on safari with some sort of camera. You're saying you have?
We have. I think I've worked with a client before. He's a photographer.
Yeah.
and he does photography tours. Actually, he works with different companies, I think, but he comes specifically to take. Just I think when we in our break when we're talking about the photographer Brian admires, that comes determined for portraits of humans. He comes to see the gorillas, and he takes shots for the gorillas.
Yeah.
Of course, that's the part I've worked on. Probably he does other things, but we do a few of them. But
Okay.
of course, it's hard to tell sometimes,
Yeah.
unless someone actually communicates and says, "I'm here specifically for
the
photography."
photos, yeah.
Yes, but I think generally most guests take photos. But professionally, I think I've worked with a few of
Okay.
them that have set out to come for
Yeah.
a photography
But
trip.
majority of them would come with some sort of device to capture the moment.
Yes,
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
If it's not a very good iPhone somewhere, it's
Yeah.
a personal camera somewhere. So
Yeah.
people always move with their cameras. They would love to capture memories.
Okay.
So I don't know if that is classified as, but I
Alright.
think photos are essential for every
Yeah,
trip.
I'll come to Peter and Brian in a moment. But I just want to close my eyes and let you lead me on what you'd picture to be a photography safaris. What would be like those key destinations? And I know you have properties in Rwanda as well, so you can maybe just handpick a few of like the must go to or must visit destinations for someone looking for a photography experience.
To combine the gorillas, the chimpanzees, and wildlife. To combine all of that, I would say, not to take a lot of time on the road.
Yeah.
Do the flights, do the domestic flights. They will enable you to get in and out quickly, and also take those aerial shots. So let's draw an itinerary for you per se.
Yes.
An itinerary for you per se. I would say, if you're combining Uganda and Rwanda, because you've put in Virunga a bit, I would say flying. Okay, this is me speaking to a client.
Yes.
Or
I'm closing my eyes, listening.
Let's say you arrive in Entebbe. You take your flight from Entebbe, from Entebbe to Kasese. You can start with Kasese. You can fly in Kasese, then transfer, do the chimpanzees in the gorge, because it's an unforgettable experience. Just sloping down into the gorge and searching.
Which gorge are we
The
talking
Chambura
about?
Gorge.
Chambura Gorge.
Yes,
Okay.
I believe you have been there.
Yeah.
You just going to slope down into the gorge, search for the chimpanzees there. It's amazing to actually see them down in the gorge. It's a totally different experience. And then do the boat cruise and Kazinga, the game drives, the lion research, and then on your way to Windy, search for the tree climbing lions as well, because those are exciting to see.
Yeah.
And then there you do the drive, 6 hours.
Are they always there?
No, they're elusive. But if you are lucky,
yes,
as we've been saying, go to Windy, do the gorillas, and then for easy access, fly or walk. You can either walk from Windy to Nteko, and then go to Mugahinga, do the Nyakajezi family down there, which is perfect viewing, amazing.
Yeah.
And then cross over approximately an hour, border to Rwanda, and then also experience the gorillas there, because the landscapes are different. Yeah. So I would say that would be an ideal one to get a few shots. Of course, you're able to get the aerial shots and the landscapes. Yeah.
Beautiful, interesting. Let me come to Brian. What would you consider your best photography spots in Uganda?
Well, that would be the northeast.
The northeast.
That would be the northeast.
Okay.
I think it's because it's a bit diverse and a bit arid, and it has that fusion between culture and wildlife, and how the two elements are coexisting with each other. Because if you're to come, let's give an example right from Sipi. Let me just draw that line. Right from Sipi, you're looking at the mountainous areas, how tourism is coexisting with farming and all that. Then you come down to Pianope. That is now how the communities are living together in fact, within the park confines, and how each of these two very unique species are coexisting without conflicts and without. Although people kind of say that there are conflicts and all, but it goes back to the origin. If you're to look at history, it is very rare that. Let's give an example. I'm going to cross borders down to Botswana. It's very hard for you to hear there is always human conflict between the native community. We're looking at the native community and the wildlife. It is quite hard. They've learned to live with each other. They've learned to coexist. They've learned to share resources with each other. That's the same thing with the Northeastern Corridor. Other parts of Uganda, yes, but this is now where we have like a clear distinction of how people are coexisting with each other. You cross up to Moroto, that is more of landscapes and the Karamojong culture and how it is flourishing despite that arid and harsh environment. But they've made it, they've thrived from it. And for them now, they've more gone into cattle keeping and what. So through the lens of a client, they're getting to see how they are transitioning from the highlands down to the lowlands, back to the highlands, and how these ones are farmers, the other ones are pastoralists, the other ones are this. Then again, you go into another community whereby they're coexisting with the wildlife. Others are there are actually some other settlements right in the heart of the parks, but they're living at peace and at one.
Okay,
so for me, destination-wise, I think if it is park specific, I would go for Kidepo National Park.
And then you consider the journey.
Exactly.
The journey there. You prefer the eastern road through Sipi
the northeastern corridor.
Pianope Wildlife Reserve, Moroto, Matheniko.
Then you cross up to
all the way to Kidepo.
Exactly.
Okay.
Then you come back down now to maybe until Makshon Falls, maybe. Because those are the most routes. Actually, maybe it would go back to my preference and maybe the photographic trips overland trips I normally lead. Those are where they have keen interest in. Most of if it's a 15-day trip, they'll do about 9 to 10 in that region. Then they'll do about 5. And the specific reason why they would go to the east is for the mountain gorilla. I mean, to the west, that's for the mountain gorillas specifically. And most times you'll find it's Makshon Falls and maybe Queen and direct to Bwindi, then return back to Kampala.
Okay.
But most times they come with, actually most clients that I normally have a bias for culture. They want that African, what makes Uganda? What is a Ugandan exactly? They want to see what's that, let's say, from back then. As they want a story. How did we live before and how are we living today? Exactly. So once they land in Kampala, they're seeing the whole development, they're seeing this and that. But now once they move up to the northeast, they're now entering a whole new dimension. They're looking at kraals, they're looking at recently we did a shoot with him and we had an aerial photograph of the manyatas. Actually not manyatas, but the homesteads. And we were all amazed. And we asked Theo by then, do these guys have a way of construction or it's just out of instinct? He was like, no, these guys just choose a place, they start constructing. But once you send the drone up, you're looking at a well-crafted pattern.
It looks like they planned,
exactly.
but
it's like
they
a
did
fingerprint.
it subconsciously.
Exactly. It's like a fingerprint.
It's a good mistake.
Exactly. So this is what they are trying to look at. They're trying to see what's the difference between the present and the past. And that region takes you back in time. Yes.
What wildlife would take you to Kidepo? What would you be looking for?
Well, Kidepo, I'm looking at the ostriches. That is, although they are highly sought out for and they're hard to reach, but it would be ostriches. And then we're looking at the leopards and you're looking at maybe the lions. So those are always my key highlights.
A famous lion on the rock.
Exactly.
Okay, let's come to
that
Peter.
sometimes can be elusive.
Yes. Let's come to Peter. What would be your wildlife photography hotspots in Uganda?
Well, the question is a bit complex, and it depends on how you what you're actually asking.
Yeah.
Me personally, I have a love for Bwindi.
Okay.
And that will be the nature. Obviously, I do love gorillas, chimpanzees of Chibata, right? But photography trip or doing a photography safari, as such, you know,
Yes. Yeah.
I partly have to go with. I totally agree what you are saying, with the northern wildlife diversity, and the culture part playing a big role in it.
Yeah.
So, you know, if someone has a short period of time here and wants the best photography trip, generally speaking, not being sad, missing out the gorillas or something, I'd head up for Murchison every time.
Yeah.
The diversity, the access to the animals, and the amount of animals.
Yes.
And the park, the backdrop is beautiful.
Yeah.
Take a drive through Murchison at any time. You will have, you know, fine, you might miss out on the elephants, but you might have the same chance for the lights. But you have the giraffes. You have, you know, the diversity
You have a bigger
is there.
checklist.
It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And actually, I do want to mention Lake Mburu as well. That has,
I wanted to say Mburu is...
when it comes to diversity and the amount of animal has been exploded lately, you know.
That's nice to hear.
And also, I wanted to say something, because we started actually this conversation, if I didn't misunderstand.
Yeah.
We started up as for a photography trip, photography safari. Now, you lady, you built a small itinerary here.
Yes.
To swiftly sweep through and get a lot of pictures. Now, on the contrary, a photography safari will target less places for a longer period of time.
Exactly.
Just repeat that for me.
Less places
Yes.
for a longer period of time.
Okay.
If I do a photography safari with photographers, I want maybe 2 parks, maybe 3 parks, depending on the amount of time. But I want to spend 3 days in Murchison. We are going out in the best light to take the best pictures. We can do the whole day finding places to come back to sit and wait for the right animal photo. You are missing that if you are going to do the ordinary 10-day itinerary for Uganda.
Yeah.
Because if the light isn't perfect or the animal hasn't reached, you're done.
Yeah.
On a photography safari, I'm sure, making sure that I have extra days, I will come back
Yeah.
You have enough time to
at the right time.
To get a photo.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very nice. How about Africa? Let's go beyond Uganda. Do you have, call it a dream destination to go and shoot? Now, leave alone the photography safari, if you were looking at...
I do. I have, I think, 2 destinations would be Namibia.
Namibia.
Definitely Namibia.
Is that, which park is that? Etosha? Are you looking at Etosha or just...
I'm not going to throw around names and spots, but they have, you know, the deserts up there, they have the wild horses. You have, finding wildlife, any wildlife, walking through the dunes of the deserts is absolutely amazing pictures, you know.
Exactly.
So I want to do that, and then what were we saying?
Botswana.
Botswana will be the delta there.
Yes.
Okavango.
Okavango Delta.
That's my 2 destinations. What next? I think.
Yeah.
How about you, Brian?
I would go with Botswana and a little bit of Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Do the Victoria Falls, and there's that corridor drive that comes right from South Africa through Namibia, through Botswana.
Oh,
down
and you know
to-
what we want to do? We want to go with champion to Sudan.
Sudan.
We're having that discussion.
Those villages that he is, where the cattle keepers, absolutely amazing culture
Exactly.
pictures. I almost went last time, and I couldn't.
So it's just something to. I think out of Uganda, East Africa, that would be Botswana, that whole southern region.
Yeah, I
It's
do
just-
see Zambia as well, Zimbabwe.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm quite shocked that none of you talked about the contemporary Serengeti with Tanzania and Kenya, Masai Mara.
No, but just, for me,
Yeah.
I've been running tours there, so for me, I kind of done it.
Okay.
Which is amazing. Both Kenya, both the Mara and Serengeti is amazing destinations.
And
Actually, I want to touch something with it. One is the difference that you're saying, and one of the reasons. Now, obviously, of course, I especially for Serengeti, I've been there, done that. But there is one thing that keeps me away from it, and I want to bring this up, especially for tour operators. Something that a lot of times scares me when I hear people at the top in Uganda talking about where are we going, we need to market the country. They're putting up trade shows to market us, which we need. And we need tourism, a lot of it.
Yeah.
But they keep referring to, look what Tanzania has done. Look where they have reached.
Yeah.
And this is what scares me, because Serengeti today, let me phrase this carefully. Have you ever seen a photo from Serengeti without another 3 cars in it?
Never.
it's impossible.
Never. My last trip to Serengeti and Ngorongoro was when I had enough.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not taking people's money to do this. We were watching 2 lions in Ngorongoro. I back out. I have the picture to prove it. I back out.
Yeah.
There are 32 Land Cruisers in a semicircle watching these 2 lions. There was a friend of mine from Tanzania running tours. He posted a drone shot. In Ngorongoro, there's a small lake, and we all go down there for lunch.
Yeah.
And there's a drone photo, and he was surprised. Look at how we have our clients, and it's so good, and we're having a good time. As 104 Land Cruisers, there was a line of
101.
cars
Wow.
getting into this lake, waiting to be able to have a spot to eat their lunch. There's 100 cars there parked.
And that's
How
the
does that
beauty
affect
that's the beauty about the southern sector.
Yeah.
You can hardly meet another.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
the definition
Yeah.
of being out in the wild.
That's why we like Kideko, right?
Exactly.
Yes,
Just
you can
us,
go a whole
yeah.
day and you don't.
Definitely.
You might meet a car, but
You
you're
might
not
meet-
going to be along a car.
Definitely, you're not going to be over 5. Even in Shasha, also it's the same story. You
Yeah.
can be about 2-3 people doing a game drive,
Yeah.
and now that's what these guys are looking for. They're looking for exclusivity.
Exclusivity, yeah.
Exactly. How do I visit
That's a
this
big
place?
point for Becky
And
to
for-
take home.
And for photographers,
yeah.
they want to be out in the wild. They are alone.
Yeah.
But now just imagine a situation, you're over 15 vehicles, you're trying to nail the shot. This guy is starting a Land Cruiser over there, the other guy is hooting from this side,
Yeah.
the other guy is doing this.
Would you say
It
that you
creates-
travel more in low season? As
Sorry?
photographers, you travel more in low season than in high season?
That's the
Yeah.
most preferable. But now, most times, if you're to look at animal patterns, movement, and all that,
high season.
you have to also take that into consideration. Exactly.
But
And
it-
sometimes you may find maybe now, like for instance, the Great Migration. It's impossible for a photographer to go there during the off-peak season.
Oh my, the videos I see
Exactly.
about
And that's a behind-the-scene photo you do not want to
Definitely.
show.
Yeah, the behind the scenes are-
because you want to create that. It's just an exclusive
Safe experience.
experience. No other. You don't want to put in any other human element to it.
Yeah.
And I
Exactly.
mean, I know. Also worth saying that this is true for so many destinations in the world.
Okay.
You can see amazing photos of the sunset through a place called Nature's Window. It's a hole in a rock where you can see the sunset.
Yes,
right?
I've seen that.
There's a couple of
Very
places
beautiful.
in the world where that happens. Or famous backdrops where there are rocks or buildings or whatever, and there's a beautiful woman standing next to a fountain and something.
Yeah.
But the behind the scene is 40, 50, 60
Crazy.
photographer literally waiting in line
line
with
just
their wife or assistant to take this shot.
Yeah.
And obviously here, back to Uganda, there's a fine line between we need tourism, we strive, we live out of tourism, we all do. And harshly said, we need the cash.
Yeah.
But somewhere we have to draw a line.
Draw a line, exactly.
Because it's taking a toll on nature, wildlife, and the experience.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, if you're to look at the southern side, Botswana, Namibia, they have a limited number of slots.
So they're regulating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That number of tourists that get in. Or let's say, you might have maybe let's say a vehicle of about this and that, but they limit the number of vehicles going in. They want to create that exclusivity and also reduce the pressure on it.
Yeah.
Because
that
just
also
imagine-
translates to the revenue. I guess they probably make a lot more money than.
Definitely. Because I just imagine a situation whereby you're having about 140 land cruisers. Okay, let's say safari vehicles in a park. What's the impact of each of those on
impact on conservation, but also on the visitor experience?
Yes,
Exactly.
and the animals.
And sometimes wildlife tends
that's their
to
habitat.
migrate away from highly congested areas.
And maybe I should add that in our Uganda defense here, we still have plenty of room to expand, and we have plenty of room for more tourism.
Yeah.
No doubt. As you say, we can still be in Kidepo alone. So we do, but I still say we need to, you need to keep an eye on where the boundaries are before you get there.
Yes.
Because then it's very hard to go back.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, what are they going to do in Serengeti and Ngorongoro? They have restricted number of cars in Ngorongoro, but it's so high, it really doesn't matter. They're pushing up the price, but it doesn't matter because people it's a one of a lifetime trip, so people pay anyhow.
Yeah.
And they can't really go back.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden now the reality is, if you have reached, no one will say that, you know what, we have this many millions of dollars in profit last year, but it's taking a toll, so let's cut that profit. No one is going to say
impossible.
that.
No one is
going to say that,
And I respect that.
Honestly, yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
So you kind of need that roof somewhere before you reach.
Yeah. That's a very strong point. Thanks for bringing that up, Peter. Okay, so we're going to take a short break, but before we do that, I want to do some quick ones.
Okay.
And I'll start with Becky. Favorite wildlife, favorite animal, the bird, let's just say wildlife to see
To see
on safari.
on safari.
Hey, you
Do I
even have to
just
think about that.
No, I don't even, because there are many. Some, if you say favorite,
Yeah.
I'm like, do I have to pick one?
Okay, you can pick a couple.
I like the chimpanzees
Okay.
because of how human-like they can be, if I can say that. It's fascinating to see that they are able to do certain things that we as humans can do. Then I like the tree climbing lions. It's just amazing to see that they are able to get up there and just lay and relax. Yeah, it fascinates me.
Yeah. Okay, then the next one is what's your favorite time of the day? Are you more of a morning game drive or evening game drive?
Morning. I'm more of a morning game
Oh,
drive.
you're an early person.
Not necessarily, but for the game drive.
Quality before comfort.
Yes, quality before comfort.
Yeah.
Like for that
Yes.
game drive, I will wake up. For that, gorilla tracking experience. So I will get up and do it.
And do it.
Yes, and then relax in the evening.
Yeah.
Like get up in the morning, see the animals at the crack of dawn, and experience that. Yes.
Yeah, it's quite interesting how easy it is for us to wake up.
Yeah, it's easy. When you say adventure, you just get up in the
But
morning.
when you have nothing to do,
Monday morning, let's go to work.
Yeah,
Yay.
you're
Then they say,
"Oh,
let's
no."
go see these animals. You just get up. Yeah.
Okay, then finally for Becky, game drives or nature walks?
I would say nature walks.
Okay.
Yeah, I engage more with nature. I would say nature walks. I don't think I like game drives less, but of the two, I would pick a nature walk.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's good to hear. Brian,
Yes.
let me come to you. Favorite wildlife to see?
I think it would be the baboon.
To see, wow.
It would be the baboon.
Out of the box.
Wow.
It's quite an interesting species. They have that freedom. They have that playfulness. You could literally watch them hours and hours and hours, and they are keeping you entertained. Actually, it's not more of like seeing the way they are, how they behave, but it's an entertainment bit. They're really interesting.
They're very comedic.
Exactly.
Sure, when you meet a troop, everywhere you look, it's like there's so much going on.
This one is doing this, the other one is doing this, the other ones are fighting each other, the other ones are fighting for food, the other ones are doing this one is grooming the other.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay,
So-
then as a photographer, favorite animal to shoot? Not with a gun. What you talking about?
Take a shot off.
Yes. Take a
Well,
shot off.
I think it would be that would be the waterback.
Ah, nice.
Wow.
If you time the morning shot right, you can have.
I know exactly what
It's
you're
the
looking at
pretty-
right there.
You're already picturing
Yeah.
it. It's very pretty. It has some bit of fur on its body.
Okay.
The top, it's like, can I say the top coat that lights up during the morning? That morning, is it dusk or something? Dawn.
It's quite. I always confuse them. Dusk and dawn.
I think
Dusk,
it,
I
it
think,
must be.
yeah.
I think dusk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it has that golden look to it, and maybe the leopard, because they're hard
Nice.
to get, hard to shoot, hard to film, and once you get it, you
It's
go
like
back
treasure.
when you're
They're hard
happy.
to see.
Yeah.
Exactly. All the times I've got a leopard in Maction Falls, it's always at night during a night game drive. I'm so unlucky that I've never seen any during the daytime.
I never find them at night. It's funny. I always find them in the morning. I don't
When
think
you
I
see
ever
them
seen one at night.
Me?
Evening, I
Always
was-
at night.
Not even in Lakeland.
You should become my friend.
Exactly.
I am the leopard man.
Definitely.
You see them everywhere.
I'm very lucky with leopards.
I've only seen them
Yeah.
in the evenings only. I've never seen them in the mornings.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
you like see it
Always
for
at
1
night.
minute.
Yeah.
And that is it.
And that is it.
Uh-huh. And most times before you get your camera gear ready, they're already sprinting into the distance.
I love that animal because of that. The fact that it's not a commoner.
It's not
it's-
exactly.
When you see it,
It's gold.
then it goes. Okay. Are you a morning game drive or evening game drive?
Morning.
Okay. Then game drive, nature walk.
I do a game drive.
Okay.
'Cause
Yeah.
do you need a reason for it?
Yes.
or-
Yes. Sure.
Well, I'd do a game drive because it's easier on my body and it's also easier on the equipment.
Okay,
Because
makes sense.
doing a nature walk, yes, it's interesting and stuff, but
Yeah.
with a game drive, you get also to see more, travel longer distances, and maybe increase the chances of spotting something. Yeah.
Okay. Then since you're a photographer, what's your toughest destination to shoot in?
Queen Elizabeth. That place is
There is a-
it's my bad luck
Oh, there are
charm.
so many reasons.
The list is endless.
Uh,
But the weather, you have a shooting window of about not more than 2 hours.
I know what you're talking about.
And
yeah.
once the sun comes up, that
The
is
skies are blown out. And
exactly.
everything, yeah.
It's totally, you cannot get that rich, nice color from, unless if you're looking at maybe animal portraits. There, yes. But if you're looking at getting the blend between the subject, that is the animal, and the landscape at the back, it's totally impossible. Because you're looking at 2 hours, maybe in the morning, 2 hours in the evening maximum. The rest are just bonus shots.
I see the pain of an aerial photographer.
Exactly.
The same thing I said about Quid, you just said it nicer.
And even if you try to, ND filters, yes, they're good, but in the long run, you're introducing color cast, you're introducing so many different things, variables that you're not accounting for.
Yeah.
And most people will tell you, you can go out in the hot sun, in the harsh sunlight, and slap on an ND filter and you'll get what you want. But what's the cost that you're... Yes.
Okay, then finally, DSLR or mirrorless?
I'd go with mirrorless.
Okay. All right. I won't ask why. I'll come to Peter.
Yeah, that's a whole other...
That's the whole...
Peter, the first question is favorite animal, favorite wildlife to see on safari?
To see?
Yes.
I do have a love for the gorillas, but that's a bit mainstream and boring.
Yeah.
I think hyenas. I have a love for hyenas.
Yeah.
And actually, that would be my answer to
photograph as well.
For all, taking photography, seeing, being, studying the same. The same. You brought up the baboons. I had the privilege to spend a whole year in Ishasha.
Yeah.
So you're getting close to the hyena families. You see, when the pups are born and coming out, and the social structure, not just seeing it, passing by.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I know we've whipped Queen Elizabeth quite a bit. We've trained it a bit, but when you're talking about hyenas, I think
it's the best
Queen
place.
Elizabeth is the best place to
but it's also we do need to part these two. Like when we say Queen, we do mean main Queen Elizabeth. Ishasha is so different.
Yeah,
the whole park is different. How it looks, what's there.
The sector.
Actually has a diversity.
It's diverse.
That Queen doesn't have. So.
Okay, then morning game drive, evening game drive?
Morning, definitely.
We're all morning people.
Morning.
Yeah, we are. and as I say, it's quality versus comfort. I'm not a morning person, but definitely for the photography and for the experience of the animals and the whole scenery, everything. Yeah. That sunrise coming up, definitely every day.
Okay, then game drive or nature walk?
Since we can't be on a boat, I'd say game drive.
Why? When you say boat, actually, I don't know. I didn't think about the boat cruise.
Getting the small private boats up in Murchison, especially down the Delta. Absolutely
That's
amazing.
Nice. Yes, it's amazing.
Awesome. And because you get quietly close to the animals in another way that you don't do from the car. But I would also fairly answer game drive instead of nature walk. And a little bit like you said, it's you can sit and you can make your way around.
Okay.
Nature walks, they're nice and it's different, but unless you're not really getting too close and if nothing is happening right there, well, either you have a long walk or you need to go back and move your car and get back out.
Yeah.
So I game drive, and it's easier to move around and just I'm a bit comfortable. I think maybe.
Yeah. toughest places to shoot in.
Toughest places to shoot. Challenge I guess, is always Ruwenzori's because lack of power, batteries, coldness, but also an amazing place to shoot.
Yeah, I'm being pushed to go up the Ruwenzori's, but it's the thought is not. It's not
fitting well.
It's not fitting yet. I need a bit of convincing to go up there. Okay, and finally,
but answering that, but you don't necessarily need to reach the top.
Yeah.
It's an amazing track for a couple of days getting up. And well, I'm not saying it's easy, but a fair track up. It's if you don't necessarily need to see snow and ice and being on top. Just getting a bit up there is amazing.
Yeah. Okay, then finally, DSLR or mirrorless? Or both or none?
No, well, unfortunately for me, I have not yet had too much experience for the mirrorless.
Okay.
So, but I'll tell you a funny thing though, is that I'm so used to looking through the lens.
Yeah.
That I don't like the feeling. I don't like the feeling of looking at the screen or looking at.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I have my grip to take a quick action photo. I need that camera in my face.
Yes.
I can't do it with half-raised arms looking at the screen. I can't.
Exactly.
And I tell you, I can argue with anyone. There are shots that you will never take looking at that screen.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Especially, I have one of my iconic nature shots is a pied kingfisher dipping its wing in the water, flying by on the side. There's no way that you can
And
catch
actually,
it.
bad photography literally can't do with a mirrorless. Okay, you can.
Maybe it's
but you'll have to use the viewfinder.
Yeah.
But just to say, let me look through this, and it's impossible.
Or maybe I don't know. Maybe it's a thing you get used to. But that's what
There's that as well, but
So I stick to my I stick to my mirror.
Okay, we're going to take a break. The conversation will continue shortly. Well, that marks the end of part B of this awesome 3-part episode. If you are hearing this, now is a good time to hit that like button and also subscribe to the podcast. The podcast is available on all major streaming platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Radio Republic, Pocket Casts, and I believe this particular episode will also run on YouTube. In part C of this episode, Peter, Becky, Brian and I slowly lead our way to the tail end of the discussion. We will touch on the two often controversial debates between the vintage era of photography and the digital age in which we live. We will also discuss the topic of whether to print your images or just have them consumed through a digital screen. And we'll wind things up with a conversation of how to use our skills to advance conservation messages. Alright, we'll see you in the next one.